Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name is Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here on Channel 59.3 B-Pod TV and Roku. Big show for today is we're going to break down the latest regarding the Bears head coaching search and name some finalists for the job. You don't want to miss it. Comes up in just a moment. Before we get started, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. If you want to watch more show from the B-Pod TV network, search up BPOD TV on YouTube. I want to start today with this. How do you determine what it takes to be hired? What are the criteria, the questions you ask to make sure you find the right person? Obviously, you look at a resume, find out their career track, how they start, have they progressed, are there real results? I know some who look at the past job. Were you fired? Did you quit? What'd you do? Why are you here? What's the problem with that last job? See, these are common sense questions the Bears should be asking. Now, with Ted Phillips being in on all these head coaching interviews, I doubt they're being asked, but they should be. Any common sense person knows this is what you need to ask during an interview. Plus, of course, technical questions about the game. We know this. Saw a report today about some finalists for the Bears job. These might surprise you a bit. I was also shocked. According to Ian Rappaport, this is new. There are more candidates who are going to get a second interview with the Bears. Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, ex-Lions head coach Jim Caldwell, Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus has his second interview on Wednesday, too. So right now, those are the finalists. Earlier today, Leslie Frazier was considered a finalist. According to Albert Breer, that report was nonsense, apparently. It was discredited. But as of right now, as I talk to you today, those are the three finalists. Dan Quinn, Jim Caldwell, and Eberflus. You might think, okay, well, not Brian Daboll. That could be a problem. Nope, Brian Flores. So what does this mean? Well, what did I just say? When you're doing an interview, what questions do you ask? What do you want to know? I mean, really, let's get down to it. What do you want to know during a job interview? Will they fit with your organization? Yes, but how about their past? We scrutinize. We wonder, what have they done before? Are they qualified for this job? Do they have results? Are they proven? Have they done something to indicate they deserve to even be here? Out of all these three names, I'm not sure if that's the case. I'll explain why in a second. I'll break down each one in a second. I just want you to put it through your head. When we're talking about head coaches, GMs, we need a resume, right? We need a track record. We need to remember what happened in the past. Can't forget about it. You need to have good memory. See, there's a difference when you're hiring in the NFL. Everybody knows everything. We all remember these people's resumes. We've seen it with our own eyes. Bears have seen it. Bill Polian has seen it. We all have. It's not like I'm a salesman flying to a different company and they know nothing about me. This is all public knowledge. There are statistics that break down each one of these coaches, their strengths, their weaknesses, what they've done in the past. We all know it. We all see it. So I'm pretty scared that the Bears are settling on these three guys. I mean, we saw the Bills on Sunday. You're going to tell me Brian Daboll doesn't deserve a second interview? Really? I'm all for Leslie Frazier being gone. The Bills' defense collapsed late in that game. That's fine. What about Daboll? Josh Allen had 4 touchdowns. Josh Allen, his rookie year was nothing. Even his second year, not much. I used to tear into him. Thought he was a bust. I did, I'll admit it. Thought he was a bust. Daboll worked with him, made him better. I was a top quarterback. I saw people last night saying this is the new generation, Mahomes, Allen. I don't disagree. Sure. But Daboll played a big role in developing him. And I get it, Josh Allen has talent, big body, big arm, I understand. But he had that before. Had to be developed. I remember the scouting report on Josh Allen out of college. Big arm, no accuracy, not even a bit. I had to learn it. He did. See that throw he made late in the game, fourth quarter? Yeah, accurate, on the money, set up the Bills to go to overtime. Josh Allen is not a joke. Brian Daboll made sure that happened. He is still my number one guy for this job. Offensive mind, developed a quarterback, didn't have Tom Brady like Byron Leftwich, didn't have a superstar, had to develop him, build him from the ground up, and move on. The Bears have Justin Fields. Everybody raves about Justin Fields' raw talent. If he's similar to Josh Allen, there shouldn't be a problem in developing him. Daboll would probably do a great job here. And yet, as of today, he is not being considered for a second interview. I read you the names of those who are finalists. Dan Quinn, Jim Caldwell, Matt Eberflus. I've said this before, say it again. I'm not really opposed to Jim Caldwell. He's respected in football circles, been around a long time, successful. That's the one guy I'm not really as mad about. And I know a lot of people are. A lot of people aren't happy. Oh, he's old, been out of the game a long time, never won a Super Bowl. I get it. Jim Caldwell's done some good things, both in Indianapolis and Detroit. You could say what you want about Indianapolis. Yeah, they had Peyton Manning, right? Carried by Manning. Fine. What about Detroit, though? They had Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford. Not a superstar. Good quarterback, not a superstar. Not a great team. Had to work with what he had. To win 11 games with the Lions in 2014, that's an accomplishment. To finish there with a winning record. I mean, he was fired after going 9-7. Jim Caldwell. Now look at the Lions. They fired Jim Caldwell for guess who? Matt Patricia. Did that work? They actually thought they'd get something better in Matt Patricia. Oh, hey, Patriots DC. Bill Belichick, coaching tree. Bill Belichick's coaching tree's done nothing, by the way. Nothing. But even more than that, I don't know how you fired somebody going 9-7. That was the last year the Lions have been over 500. Jim Caldwell was the coach. If he could do that with that trash heap of an organization who's going to be on the up and up now, he could certainly do that here in Chicago with Justin Fields. I have no issue with Jim Caldwell being hired at all. My preference is Brian Daboll, but I won't be mad. I won't have outrage about Jim Caldwell. A lot of people will. Seen it already on Twitter. Oh, he's old, doesn't know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. 62-50 career. And was a winner in Detroit. Out of all places in the NFL, he was a winning coach in Detroit. That should tell you all you need to know about his aptitude as a coach. Who he is. He's respected in league circles. I don't know why he hasn't gotten a job since Detroit. Maybe he's wanted to be out of the spotlight. But Jim Caldwell deserves a job, no question. Should have got one after Detroit. Really. I mean, to get fired going 9-7 with the Lions? Doesn't make sense. Good guy. Respected. I mean, think about this even. Peyton Manning played for him. Matthew Stafford played for him. They liked him. There was never controversy around Jim Caldwell. The way he coached, who he was, how he dealt with players and quarterbacks. Look at today. I mean, you got so many quarterbacks complaining about their head coaches, having problems with them. On Caldwell's case, for the most part, everyone seemed to like him. And I think he'd be great with his team. Veteran, he'd be respected. Got no problem with it. The problems I have are with Dan Quinn and Matt Eberflus for different reasons. I want to talk about Dan Quinn first. Remember what I said? I have to study their experience, their resume. Why does everybody have short-term memory about Dan Quinn? Why is he even being interviewed for jobs? Do we remember what happened? Dan Quinn did nothing in Atlanta, and he had Matt Ryan. Say what you want about Matt Ryan, not a bad quarterback. Didn't have a bad team. Blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. To Tom Brady. I don't care who it's against. You blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. Which tells me you don't know what you're doing in big games. So even if the Bears were lucky enough to make the playoffs next year, I would be so scared knowing Dan Quinn is coaching. But even more than that, think about this. Last season, we all remember the Falcons. When Nagy took out Trubisky, put in Foles, the Bears came back and won. The Falcons went 0-5, and he was fired. Worst defense in the NFL. Had leads in every game they played. They gave them up and lost, went 0-5. Fired mid-season. Look at how bad Matt Nagy was. He was still given to the end of the year. Falcons, Arthur Blank, the owner, didn't waste his time. Just said, you're out of here. You're through. Can't even deal with this. When you look at Dan Quinn's career and record and what he's done, there is nothing impressive. Nothing. He was 43-42. Only had 2 years above 500 in Atlanta with that team. So, I don't understand why he's even considered a finalist. Why he's getting interviews in general, but why he's a finalist. Let me get this straight. 500 coach, blew a 28-3 lead in the biggest game of the year. Fired mid-season, going 0-5 with the worst defense in the NFL. Worst defense in the NFL. Defensive coordinator, defensive mind. So defensive-minded coach had the worst defense in football, gave up 5 games out of the gate, and was fired mid-season. Now all of a sudden, he's a finalist for this job? I don't think so. That would be a horrible move, and yes, you would see a lot of rage on my end. I wouldn't be happy. He's done nothing significant. Look, it'd be different if his record was a bit better. If they made it to another Super Bowl, won. They didn't. They should have won. They lost. Blew it to Tom Brady. And there's really no justification for that. You know, some people could say, well, he paced the go. Well, it doesn't matter. They blew it. They dominated that first half. Blew the whole game. That was a colossal failure of coaching. Really, more than anything. Sure, the players play. Colossal failure of coaching. How you let a team come back down 25 points at halftime is beyond me. And they did. And they lost. And they blew it. That's Dan Quinn. That's a finalist for the Bears job today. Yeah. A finalist for the Bears job. And look, I get Dallas's defense was great this year. No question. No question. But are we going to forget about what he did in Atlanta? We're going to forget about how bad their defense was? 2020. Atlanta's defense, 25th in the NFL in yards given up. 25th. Blew games, left and right to the Bears, to Nick Foles. Dan Quinn's team blew a game to Nick Foles, who came in mid-game. And he was fired mid-season. 0-5. Blew games. Blew a Super Bowl. 500 coach. What's the appeal? What's the appeal in hiring him? What's he done? I don't get it. I've never understood it. I don't know why he's getting all these interviews. You know, maybe it's me, maybe I'm missing something, but I don't see the point based on what we've seen and what he's done. Why does 1 year in Dallas expunge the rest of his career. Makes no sense at all. Then Matt Eberflus. Look, I'm not on a witch hunt for Eberflus. I don't know the guy too well. Never been a head coach, which, hey, so be it. I mean, Daboll hasn't either. Here's my problem. For a defensive-minded guy, his defense has always been middle of the pack. It hasn't been elite, per se. I mean, this year, Indy was 18th in yards given up. So, middle. And before, they were all right. 7th in 2020 and 4th in 2018, but 18th this year. Nothing really to hang your hat on. But even more than that, think about this. Who's helping out the Bears? Hire the new head coach and GM. Indy's favorite son, Bill Polian, who's 79 years old and said Lamar Jackson would be a great wide receiver. It's not a coincidence Eberflus is the Colts defensive coordinator. It isn't. And if there's one thing you want to know about me, I hate favoritism. I hate politics. Just give it to the person who has the most merit. Why is it that hard? Why is it that hard to worry about pleasing this person, pleasing that person, patronage? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you out. Can we just do this based on merit? Please? And you've seen this team, right? We remember how bad they were this year. Everybody wanted Nagy gone after a couple of games, let alone all season. Phase 2, for the most part. We remember this, right? It's only been a couple of weeks. And we're sitting here, helping out people, scratching backs for people, showing favoritism. It makes no sense to me. And look, I get it, they're the Bears, right? So maybe I put too much faith in this coaching search and what they're going to do, but seriously, come on. You'd think the Bears are in the business of winning. You'd think. And if not, they are, we are. Fans are. Fans are in the business of winning. They want to see this team good. There's a reason why Matt Nagy and Brian Pace were fired. Why are we doing the favoritism thing? Look, if Eberflus is the best guy, so be it. Fine. But I'll tell you this much, he's certainly not the most accomplished guy, and for some reason, he's a finalist. Don't tell me that's a coincidence. It is certainly not. It is not a coincidence. The Colts defensive coordinator with the 18th best defense in the NFL this year is a finalist for the Bears job with no coaching experience. And Bill Polian is leading the search, or consulting. Keep that in mind. Always keep that in the back of your head. So if the Bears make this hire, I won't necessarily be mad. I'm going to give the guy a chance, 100%. But if he doesn't work in a year or two, well, then we know it was favoritism. And Bill Polian screwed the Bears. So I have my reservations about him. Never been a head coach, middle of the pack defense, and most importantly, you need to develop Justin Fields. We all know this. I mean, this is not news to anybody. The Bears need to develop Justin Fields. Matt Eberflus, some DC, who hasn't done much in the NFL, is not going to be doing that. He's going to come in to help out the defense, and that's great. But how's he going to deal with Justin Fields? We don't know. You know, Jim Caldwell, to his credit, he's dealt with Peyton Manning and Matthew Stafford. Dan Quinn dealt with Matt Ryan, and he still sucked. And Eberflus is not an offensive guy and has a mediocre, middle-of-the-pack defense. And he's a defensive coordinator. And yet he's a finalist. A finalist. That makes no sense. How's that even possible? That's when you know favoritism, politics, scratching somebody else's back, and that is a big problem. We saw the report last week. Ted Phillips is actively engaging in these interviews, which is horrible. We all railed Pace and Nagy, and that's fine. They deserve to go. Ted Phillips stayed. Ted Phillips has been with the Bears since 1999. Look at how many GM and head coaching combos they've gone through already. And now he's there, hiring the next one. Hiring the next victim. To make everybody happy, to make things seem like they're different when they're not. Oh, well, we got Bill Polian now. Well, you've gotten people to help you before, and you've screwed it up. When are you going to say, well, maybe it's me, maybe I'm the problem? No, never going to happen. Can't admit you're wrong. The people who suffer are you and I, Bears fans, Bears media, who cover this joke of a franchise right now. That's a problem. So I hope they get this right, but you have to remember, right now, there are serious issues with his coaching search. There are problems when it comes to who's being considered finalists and where the Bears go from here. The idea that Dan Quinn, who went 0-5 and got fired midseason, who blew a 28-3 lead, who had Matt Ryan, is even being considered is a joke. A joke. Jim Caldwell's the only one in which I could understand. Truthfully, I could. Colts ties for sure, but could back it up. You can't talk smack about Jim Caldwell. He's dealt with two great quarterbacks. He's a winner. We all know it. Fine. Dan Quinn, not a winner. No. Matt Eberflus, I don't know. Nobody knows. Genuinely, nobody knows what he's going to be. For a founding franchise, wouldn't you think there'd be better, you know? Everybody raved, this is a premier job. And these are your three finalists? Quinn, Caldwell, Eberflus. Great team, great city, good quarterback. And why the hell is Brian Daboll not a finalist? Why are the Bears considering, seriously, a guy who was fired mid-season just last year? Who Nick Foles beat coming in mid-game? Who was a defensive guru and had the worst defense in the NFL in Atlanta. Who had Matt Ryan, who blew a 28-3 lead. Who went 43-42. If this is such a premier job, this is a big deal across the NFL, why are you scraping the bottom of the barrel? That makes no sense. No sense at all. You're supposed to be going after the best names, the biggest names, somebody who develops Justin Fields. And we're talking about Dan Quinn? If I was a Bears fan right now, I'd be just so insulted. What do you think? We don't remember? You think we don't remember what happened in Atlanta? I do. I follow the NFL entirely as a whole, nationally. Maybe I talk Bears on here, but I know what goes on, and I remember what happened. Arthur Blank did it personally. The owner fired him. 0-5 season, 25th best defense, you're out of here. And yet, as of today, he's a finalist. It's a shame, too, the Bears have had so many people come in to be interviewed. To their credit, they've been thorough. These are the people they're impressed with. That should tell you all you need to know about this process. I hope they get it right. I really do, for the sake of everybody. But as of right now, based on these names, they're far from being correct. Thanks for watching today's show here at BPON TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com and make sure you tune in every night at 10:30 right here on BPON TV. So long, everyone.